I've had to come back on because the camera's set for 15 minutes, so it went off and I forgot what I was saying. And I got to where I was talking about the character that always lied. Well, this is the pendulum. The pendulum lies, right? I'm going to tell you what my conclusion is of this. So, when I do the pendulum, I ask for who am I speaking to, and it has come out and said it's called Ilmon. And that's the name of my spirit, or whatever you want to call it. I am going to call it what it is. And that is a part of my psyche. It's not external. An external spirit, a spirit guide or an entity would have a different perspective of my life, and they would see my life through their own eyes, through a different way. And if you're coming from a different frequency, a different vibration, this world doesn't look like we see it. So they would be able to advise me and show me things I do not know. And the conclusion I've come to is I'm talking to my imagination, my own imagination. When you've got something called magical thinking, which only a few people have apparently, which I didn't know because I've always had it. I thought everyone was like this. Your imagination is so powerful and so strong that you can conjure up any scenario in your mind and work through problems with stories in your mind by becoming a different character or seeing people in a different way and imagining somebody else telling you what they'd do if they were in your situation, sort of thing. So I believe that the pendulum is a part of your own psyche. I think we are all interconnected, but we are still individual as well, because we have our own free will. And when you do the pendulum and when you get good at it and get used to it and you don't take it as read. For example, if this says to me, Kelly, today someone's going to come and they're just going to come up to you and they're just going to kiss you on the mouth, or they're going to hit you in the face. If I was one of these psychic mediums who had a customer sat opposite me, what they tend to do is tell them that's a fact. That's going to happen today. You know, somebody's going to come up to you today and they're going to kiss you, and then that person's going to go, oh my God, and they're going to go, yeah, well, that's what Spirit's giving to me. It's not. It's your own imagination. It's your own imagination. And I've come to the same conclusion about tarot and Ouija. I don't do Ouija board. I don't get a good sense from the Ouija board because it involves other people, so you're tapping into each other's energies, which is why it's messed up. When you do the pendulum, you're doing it on your own. When you're doing the tarot, you're doing that on your own as well. So I believe that you're just tapping into your subconscious mind, and Ilmon is my imagination, and I mustered him up like I do with everything else because I can write stories. I can tell stories, I can write them because I have an imagination, and so that's going to extend through a pendulum. Do not believe this is demonic, even though I've gone through phases where it's threatened to kill me in my sleep, and it's called me names, and it's acted like a 3-year-old child saying, I'm not your friend, I'm not talking to you, I want nothing more to do with you. It talks like a child, but that's a childish part of me, of my psyche, right? And then there's another part of it that guides me really well, and that's like listening to a sage, you know, a wise old woman. But again, that's a part of my psyche, and I believe that we are all capable of everything, and dependent on your IQ, you can go further than some other people, because obviously some people don't have the capacity to go further than stage 1 or whatever in life. But I believe that you can make yourself more intelligent and more in tune and more capable of doing things you never thought you were capable of doing by pushing the boundaries. And that means going into the dark side of yourself. When you can sit with your own inner demon, which this taps into as well, the inner demon where you threaten yourself, where you call yourself names, where you see the dark in other people and call them out on that. When you start going into that dark side of you, then that's where you find who you are. A lot of people, like in this new age movement, which I have nothing to do with, I know you'll think, well, you are because you do tarot and pendulum, but I don't do it for that reason. I do it because it's a psychological thing, and I like to experiment and find out, is this what it's put out that it is? Because with the new age movement, it's all a happy clappy rubbish. You know, don't go to the dark. Have a spliff, get wasted, go to the nice light, just think happy thoughts, and what you think you will become. So don't think negative, just think positive thoughts, and that is a load of rubbish. Some of the greatest works of art, the greatest pieces of music, have been created in somebody's darkest hour. Just remember that. So there's a lot of strength in our demons, in our inner darkness, and in our deepest, darkest parts of our soul, where we cry out the most, where the most pain and suffering is where we find the answers. And I'm a great believer in that. And these last 7 years of travelling, which I haven't done so much of the last 2 years, because I've had it quite easy because I've been settled in one place, but when I've been in the darkest times, as some of you will have seen, I've took a lot of the videos down now, but when I was like living in my car and in the old caravan in winter with no heat and stuff like that, I found a strength in me that I did not know I had. And even though I wailed and screamed through it at some times and felt really bad and depressed and low, I found a strength that I did not know that I had. And now I found it, I know how to work it. And one of the strengths I have is the ability to cope with the worst kinds of people and not let them get to me. And that has taken a lot of doing, but this has helped a lot. And basically, when this was telling me that people were up to no good behind my back and this is what they're doing to you, that was my inner self making sense of what they were doing and making a story to go with their actions. So what is going on behind the scenes is this, because they are doing that. So the pendulum is nothing to fear. It is a psychological tool that can be used to help you get in tune with your inner self and find out who you really are, because what that thing tells you is what your subconscious tells you. So if your subconscious is saying you are a fat F this, that and other, then you know that you've been programmed to hate yourself. This thing will tell me that I am beautiful and that I'm achieving great things and I'm on the right path, and that's because I've got in tune with my inner self and gone to my dark side. And so that is all the pendulum is. And some people will be angry with me now because they get money out of sitting with clients and saying, I'm going to charge £25, ask me all the questions you want and the pendulum will give you the answer. And they'll put it out that the pendulum is a spirit guide, and it is not a spirit guide. It is you telling that person what your imagination thinks the answer is. It isn't an external force. And I do believe in spirit guides. I do believe in demons, as in not in the biblical sense, but I believe that demons are created by our own psyche and we create our own demons. But I do believe there are external ones because it's been created by us. The world as we know it is a program. It is not real. It is not what you think it is, and I'm not scared of nothing. Nothing. I'm not scared of dying because it doesn't exist. It's not real. And this has shown me that I'm stronger than I thought. So if you want to have a go at doing pendulum, just remember not to be frightened of it, because when it does threaten you and when it does tell you negative things about people or situations, just remember this. It's only you telling yourself that story. You're just tapping into your imagination. That's what it is. So some people will not like that answer. They'll say you're wrong. It's spirit guides. It is not spirit guide. It put itself out to me as my nana, my dad, and somebody else, an external force, and it is not. Because if the word did tell me things I couldn't possibly know, and you cannot go beyond what you possibly know. Now, if you want to prove me wrong, that's great, and I'll continue to do this part-time. But I feel I've gone as far as I can with the pendulum. I think you're just tapping into your own self. So I'm just basically talking to myself. And these sayings that it's come out, like, now you Vodafone, means you're on the phone to yourself, which means you're talking to yourself. And I do believe that that's what it is. So I'm going to go now. Tell me what you think about the pendulum or other things. I think you've been duped. I think there's a lot of deception because people think that they're speaking to external forces, and my conclusion after months and months of doing it every single day and writing books on it is that you're talking to yourself.